Leslie, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing my new book for the second half of my year. I know a lot of people are like, it's not even close to the second half of the year. What are you talking about? It's only been like 3 months since January. Well, if you are new here, I actually start my books in October when my birthday is, since that's when I started the very first bullet journal I ever did. I just kind of kept that tradition going. So this is the second half of my year. And also, when you're starting else with something new, have you guys noticed something else new? I'm a little, not gonna lie, the short hair is a little bit weird for me just because this is literally the shortest my hair has ever been since I was literally in elementary school. So it took some getting used to, but man, I had a lot of dead stuff, so it just needed to be hacked. So new stuff, new beginnings all around. We're going with a book from Notebook Therapy once again, their Suzuki Fuji-san one. I know I said in my last moving to a new bullet journal video that I wanted to go with a blue theme, but that ended up not going out as planned because I didn't want to get the exact same book as the first half of my year, and there was no other blue designs off Notebook Therapy that I was like super in love with. So I was like, nope, let's just go with the Suzuki-san because then that gray still looks good with the blue, so it'll look cute on my shelf once both of these books are complete. So with saying all that, let's just jump right into it. This one will be pretty quick compared to the beginning of this year's book. So let's go right in. All right, so jumping right in, since this is the second half of my year, I wanted to keep the cohesion as close as possible to the first half of the year, so that is why I used the same font and color for my name, and basically did the same type of thing with a few tweaks that I did with my first calendar page. So I put a Casey Neistat quote again, but a different one this time, and a different camera doodle. But this one I actually took from a Pinterest page because when I originally tried to do it in the first half of the year, it definitely didn't look as nice trying to do it freehand without like a guide. And I did run out of my Winnie the Pooh little stickers, so I used Tigger instead. And a bunch of other little stickers that, again, similar, but instead of being blue, I added it to be like orangey and pinkish so that it would go with the color scheme of this particular book better. So flipping, I started with my goals, focus, dreams, and affirmations page. This page literally looks identical to the one I did in the first half of the year. The only real difference is I made the 27 in a completely different font. I ended up deciding that besides using the same font for like the top here, to make this book a little bit more cohesive, I'm going to be using one type of font. It's not Romantica, I forget what it is at the top of my head, but I will leave the link for it in the description. It's close to Romantica, like the font that I used for my January setup, but I used it for the entirety of the setup of this book, and then only certain areas for I don't even know how to call it. It's like more of a vintagey font. You'll see it in the next page, but yeah. So that's why I did that. And being able to do it with my finer tip black marker was a lot nicer doodles than using my thicker ones, so I'm glad I was able to switch to that. So this time, my next page, I decided to put my index and quote before my future log, so then it could be like included in my index list. Again, did my index on the left page and highlighted the background of the index in blue instead of using the gold stickers like I did last time. Realistically, I could have used the gold stickers, but when I looked through my list, my sections of letters in my drawer for planning, I didn't have enough gold to write the word index anymore, so that's why I did it in white and then added a little bit of blue. Kept with a quote on this side, but instead of doing another Casey Neistat quote, I decided to take a quote that is very famously spoken by Robin Williams. favorite quote from him. And this, I pretty much just like made it my own. Like I just saw the quote online on Pinterest, but then I mixed a couple different bullet journal cover pages to make this aesthetic. So the pictures that were the inspo for that will be linked down below. Sadly, the inspo photos were in watercolor, and I did not have the patience to put watercolor on my front pages, maybe for like a later on spread like I did last year in the second half of my year. But right now I was like, I don't want my pages to wrinkle at all, so I kind of tried to do the watercolor effect as much as I could with like my Tombos and my new midliner pens, which, by the way, love that brand. First time I'm using these pens, and they are so nice. So if you're not wanting to spend a shit ton of money on the Tombos, like midliner is definitely a good option too. So I put a little strip of my old scrapbook paper on there. It's actually a lot thinner scrapbook paper than some of my other pages that I've used on my books before, which I noticed that when I was using the thicker stuff, it kind of ripped my other book up a little bit. It was a little bit too thick, so I'm trying to use thinner paper now. But anyway, moving on to the future log. I kept the same aesthetic as I did with the first half of the year. I really liked Amanda's font that she used for future log, so I kept it with that, and it still looked pretty cohesive with this new font that I used. And I used the same kind of, is it called Zephyrus? I'm not really sure. That typewritery type of font. And before I filmed, I sketched them all out in prep for filming, because honestly, like, sometimes typing this kind of fonts takes longer for me than it really should, so I thought prepping it would be a lot faster. And it totally was! And the papers I used for this, again, thinner paper. I really wanted to keep it as flat as possible, and I picked creams and the pinks instead of doing the blues like I did in the last book. I'll link the video for that if you'd like to see more of the blue aesthetic that I did, but if you like pink, this is definitely more of the video for you. Alright, so kind of a new page and kind of not. With this page, I remembered in Amanda's moving to a new book from last summer that she did a mid-year reflect and refresh page, and I thought that would be a really good idea for the second half of my year, since the first half of this year was kind of, it started off really great, and then November hit and then everything just kind of went downhill. So I'm trying to recruit myself from that whole situation and like calm down my face and just kind of like think of, okay, what went wrong? What could I do to control that? Because even though a lot of things that did happen were completely out of my control, I could have controlled how I reacted to those things a little bit better. So I want to really reflect on that. And then on this separate side, I did my Poshmark page, but I saw this little picture of Kirby on Pinterest of him holding this iPhone, and I thought it was so cute because I'm always posting my new clothes to, well, not new clothes, but like clothes that I want to sell onto Poshmark, so I'm always on my phone doing that, so I thought this was a cute little add-on to do. But I think I need to practice doing like shadowing and whatnot for Kirby, because I'm not really super pleased with how I drew it. What I meant was how I colored it, so I'll have to practice a bit more with that. I'm adding some washi tape because I thought it still looked a little bit too plain. Added more of the browns and oranges and pink washi tapes that I have. It was actually a little bit repetitive for me when I was using the washi tapes this round, because I have a lot more blue because I'm obsessed with blue, and I have a lot less pink and oranges in my collection. So it was definitely a push on my kind of regular comfort zone using these, but I still think it looks so nice. It just took a bit longer for me to figure out, okay, what do I have to make it not look so repetitive, you know? And just added some more doodles and whatnot, and I have these sticker sheets with like little money characters on them, so I always like to put those on whatever spread is referencing some kind of income coming in. And just to add a little bit of an extra touch, I put on some more Distressing ink from Tim Holtz. This color is called Worn Lipstick. It's just a really nice, more of a hot pink, but when you put it on the edges of the paper, it looks like a very faded pink, so it definitely is not too harsh for these. because I was missing the blue, that's why I put such a light colored blue to kind of like signal where I should write my questions. At this point, I only had like 2 questions that I could think of that I would wanted to write, so that's fine. But anyway, jumping into my next spread, it's my YouTube Meraki Memories page and growth tracker. So again, I basically did the exact same outline that I did on the first half of the year, but just inverted it to make it creams and pinks. And I was lucky, I even had like one last Winnie the Pooh sticker of him in the water. So after this, it's a good thing that I don't have to do that exact same spread for the new year of bullet journals. And I know everyone's not like a YouTuber or anything, but I really like this design if you have any kind of like list of things that you need to like check off every month kind of thing. Like you can even use this as your check off list for your master to-do list if you have one. So I think it's very universal. You can just use a different title, you know? And I was so happy with myself when I was writing this out. I was thinking, oh, how many videos do I have left to finish editing from bulking up? And I only have like 2 left. But it's nice to have like almost a blank area for it. Thinking, wow, like I'm actually getting ahead on this channel. Hopefully one day that'll happen on my Leaf Factor channel. Because that's not even close yet. I think I've got like 70 videos left. It's a little ridiculous. But anyway, for the growth tracker, I kept it more simple. I basically did the same thing again, but this time, instead of continuing with more like the Winnie the Pooh thing, I decided to be more of a ocean themed, since my August setup from last summer did so well on my channel, and I am so proud of that video, so I kind of wanted to like do a little homage. And even though I really wanted to have the doodles, I was having issues picking out which ones I wanted to beside each month because, you know, most months have like some kind of like theme, but honestly, the later half of the year, there's not really too many holidays, so I just kind of like did random doodles compared to like themed seasonal doodles. And I added another quote at the bottom here, but I made it a oceany motivation quote, since I have a hard time managing my stress without being able to run, so that kind of added to the troubleness of the first half of my year when the gyms closed basically right after my birthday month. So that's usually my coping mechanism when I'm stressed, to just go for a run, but when the gyms were closed and it was super cold and snowy outside, like you can't really run in those conditions. So moving on to my YouTuber The Leaf Factor list. Like I mentioned before, it is a lot longer, so it requires 2 pages. I got a decent amount done in the first half of the year, but because it was such a stressful time and my hard drive broke, I really couldn't do weekly stuff, and that kind of sucked. So I didn't get as many done as I aimed to, but that's okay. You just get back on that horse, and I'm sure the second half of this year will be a lot more productive. But if you haven't checked out that channel already and you're curious about any of these titles, I will leave the link to my favorite, most recently edited one, so if you'd like to check that out, I would very much appreciate that. And I know a lot of these stickers I can't link to because, like these panda ones, for example, they were from a Momo, that Japanese dollar store that is in Canada. I don't think I can find it on the website, but if I do, I will link it in the description. But the washi tape, I will sure be able to link down. So on to one of my last spreads. I decided to make this new one for books and movies I really wanted to start reading again. I noticed that I was really falling off the bandwagon because the only time I really have had to read has been just before I go to sleep, and I've been passing out super fast when I'm in my bed, so I really haven't had too much, but I think now that it's getting warmer and I can take my breaks outside, and it's kind of like a refreshing moment, I'm going to be able to bring a book outside to read or journal, so I wanted to have a list for those. Oh, and also I wanted to point out that the layout that I used for the books and movies side, I actually got that idea from Journal Away's channel on her 2021 bullet journal setup, like at the very, very beginning of the year. I liked how it looked, and since I had so much thinner pinkish paper, that's why I did that, and it wasn't going to make it too bulky. But I did want to continue with my master to-do list page. Really helped with the first half of the year, just like pulling things instead of constantly dragging that list to every month and feeling like you're constantly behind. But I flipped it. Last time I had the ripped paper on the top part, and this time I just wanted to add it to the bottom. So not super revolutionary, but I like how it looks. Because I didn't want to add too many doodles to these pages, that is why I added more distressing ink on the edges. Alright, so moving on to our very last spread. It is, oh wait, is it my very last spread? Hold on. Yes, it is. Moving on to my very last spread. It's my memories page. So again, inverted it, so it's more pinkish and creamish, except this time I kind of effed up a little bit and I cut one of the sides a little bit too short, so there was a little bit of a gap. And I didn't want to have the gap on like the outer edge of the paper, so I pushed it and then I just filled that little center part with a Tombow and a bit of washi tape on the edges, just to keep it really secure and not like look so plain. It looked weird when it was just the white, so adding the washi tape kind of like helped fill that gap. And sadly I didn't have another sticker that said memories on it, so I just used the forever quote. And I mean, memories aren't necessarily for forever because some people don't have the best memories. Memory retention, I mean. But, I mean, for me, they basically are forever because I always write them down. So I was like, this fits, this is fine. And I had a bunch of really cute washi tape from Notebook Therapy, and they really went with the color scheme of this setup. So I wanted to use more of those, and I actually got it because I ordered this book. So I don't know if they're still doing it, but usually if you order a bulk order from them, they'll give you like a free sticker sheet, which I thought it was really nice. Alright, so that concludes my second half of the year bullet journal setup. I know it's not like the most original and it's really close to my first one, but I like the little improvements that I made on it, and hopefully you guys still enjoyed watching it and maybe got some extra ideas for yourself for your own bullet journals, even if maybe you're starting at the very beginning of yours or you're moving into a new book as well. But yeah, I like the little I like the little changes that I made, and hopefully they serve me better for this half of the year. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed seeing how I switch into a new notebook. It definitely feels like it's more refined than my last attempt in moving to a new book. So I think I've finally gotten the hang of it and what spreads I know I'll need all the time compared to just like, okay, don't need it unless in like one specific instance, like at my job, I can literally just grab the first half of the year. I don't need to constantly bring the second one, especially since I'm only there once a week. So yeah, so I don't go into rambling mode. We're just gonna plug my Instagram right here if you want to see more bullet journal spreads from me and maybe some extra scrapbooking stuff. Not doing quite as often because I need to catch up on my other channel, but it's a mixture of both. So follow me there if you'd like. And also I do updates on video releases because like this past week I was not uploading because I need to catch up on a lot of stuff and calm my brain down. So if you want updates like that, best to follow me there. But yeah, I'll wrap this up. I'll see you guys next Scrappy Wednesday. Bye!